Capture the passion.
Welcome back to CPTP Season 4, Episode 3. Today we have a very special guest, Ms. Jennifer Moya. We're going to talk about challenges in life. Jennifer, tell us about yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jennifer. I am 30 years old. I have recently graduated from CSUN with my bachelor's in sociology. I do plan on getting my master's in either social work or sociology.
What was your focus during your undergrad?
Juvenile delinquency and family.
Why'd you pick that route?
I guess my background, how I grew up, just everything I went through just made me want to look why I went through the things I went through.
I think sometimes it's a whole lot easier when you're looking at it from the outside in than when you're actually going through it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So let's go back in history. What was it? We did the math about 27 years ago.
Yeah, 20 years.
We first met, and you were a fourth grader?
I was a fourth grader.
I was working in a child development center in the morning, and in the afternoon I was working an after-school program where you were one of the students there.
Yeah.
And I fondly remember of a very close relationship we had.
Yes.
A lot of the times that I would get your attention was meant to sort of direct you in a different route than when you were going. You remember any of those conversations?
I do, and actually,
the good ones though.
The good and the bad. And I go back to it, sometimes like when I was younger, like I would go back to those conversations and think.
You actually remember? Like
I do, yeah.
Really?
And I would like talk to a lot of people like, oh, I still have these teachers, when I was younger. If only I would have listened then.
Remember Reyes?
I do.
Shout out to Reyes.
You should have been here.
I remember him and I, when we would brainstorm of the activities that we were going to do with you guys, we would talk about certain students, and your name would come a lot, and how part of the conversation was, we see so much in you, the way you would talk, the way you would carry yourself, how much influence you had of the other children. And it was frustrating for us because we felt like we couldn't get through to you.
Yeah.
What do you remember of those conversations?
Just a lot, like, that I had the potential. Like, I remember that you would push me a lot. Like, hey, do your work, do your homework, and you got this, and you know how to write essays, and just pushing me. And I don't know, for some reason, it didn't stick to me. I didn't want to hear it at that age.
Yeah, you were fourth, fifth
yeah,
grader, something like that. And I remember, and I can only remember our perspective, right? Take us into your perspective. What was it like growing up? What were some challenges that you were dealing with at that time that obviously we didn't know about? All we saw was a child that had all this potential, but was being very defiant, wasn't listening. Take us into your side. Give us your perspective. What was going on in your life at that time?
At that time, a lot was going on. At the time, I found out, I was told that both of my parents were HIV positive. So that was just something, and that during that time, it was like, we really couldn't talk about it. It was still like looked down on.
Right.
So we couldn't tell nobody. Hey, my parents got this. We didn't even know at that age. You don't know what it is.
Did you have an understanding of what HIV was at that time?
No, not at all. Not at all. And so my mom at the time put us in a class to learn about it, put us in therapy, because they would tell her, like, this has basically a death sentence, to get us, ready for that when it was to happen. But
so you would go to therapy. What was therapy like? Did you at that time, did you have an understanding that, oh, this is going to help me? Or what was your perspective on it?
No, I was just mad at the world. Mad that it happened to her. And then once I started learning more about how she got it, I was even more mad. And I guess that was like
and
the hardest for me.
Again, taking it back from our perspective, we saw a lot of that anger. And we saw how that anger was channeled towards I remember your younger siblings. I still remember them, and how that anger was also channeled toward your peers, and even sometimes we would get some of that lashing out when we were thinking like, why is she mad at us? Like, again, talking to Ray's about, we're trying to help her. All we want to do is we want to help her to be successful. But you see the way she responds. You see how she's disrespectful she was. But we had no idea.
All the stuff I was going through, yeah.
Yeah, stuff you were going. So how did you deal with it?
Honestly, I put it on the back burner. I ignored it as much as I could. As a fifth grader.
How'd you do that?
Just pretending everything was okay. I think I did that for a long time. I just pretended everything was okay, but no, nothing was okay. Nothing was okay.
Do you think it impacted how you were learning and performing at
school? Oh yeah, of course. Because even at school, the teachers they gave up on me too. They gave up and they would try to push me too, and I was just like, no, I don't care. I don't care about school. I don't care about anything. Why?
I'm curious, Jennifer. Did you tell anybody what you were going through at that time, aside from your parents, maybe your siblings or the therapist?
No, I didn't really talk to anybody until I was about like 13. I connected really well with my therapist at the time, which now she's basically my mom.
Shout out to her.
Shout out to Mama Gloria. I love you. Yeah, and so I met her, and she just talked to me in a different way. She answered any question I had. I don't know, and she loved me in like a very like motherly, caring way.
Yeah. So she made you feel a way that you've been wanting to feel.
Understood, yeah.
Understood.
Yeah, she made me feel
She gives that to you. And what was it inside of you that said, okay, I'm putting the walls down, now I can talk to you? What was it about her?
I think it was just the way, like, I didn't feel judged by her. I didn't feel judged, and she wouldn't like push me too hard. She would just be like, how you doing? Hey, you want to go have lunch? And it was just like little stuff. It was just like the little stuff that she did for me.
The small little things of treating you like just a human being and not, you're my patient.
Yeah.
I just got to help you and deal with you.
I think that's what it was. She didn't treat me as a patient. She treated me like as her daughter.
So was it hard for you to trust her?
At first, yes. But then she had like this energy that was just like, okay, I can trust you.
Last season, we had a therapist come in. We talked throughout last season. We talked a lot about mental health and the importance of mental health, and how we as a society should break that stigma of mental health, because it's very beneficial to a lot of people. What would be your advice to anyone that's up in the ropes in regards to seeking a therapist?
Find somebody you're comfortable with, that you feel just like a connection, that they're really there to help us.
That's what you want to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Help somebody. That way she helped me, like all the positive people I had helped me.
What is it about your relationship now that you consider her to be like a mother figure?
Besides that, we've been knowing each other for a long time. First, before my mom passed away, she was one of the main persons that would go to the court dates with me every time I would go to jail when I was a juvenile.
You want to tell us about that? What were some things?
I think it all just went from there, from finding out my parents were HIV positive, going through, sexual abuse, all that anger, and I got into the whole gang stuff, drugs at a young age. All of that ended up getting on probation, missing probation, and I ended up going in and out of jail up until I was 18.
Do you attribute the anger towards the way you were behaving?
Oh, yeah. I feel like a lot of that anger was from all the stuff I was going through.
So you're carrying all this anger inside of you. You're exerting that anger with the choices you're making in life, and those choices have really bad consequences, like
very bad,
being in jail. But there's that one person that's been there,
and through all of that, through all those court dates and jails and all that, she remained there.
What did she tell you? Did she scold you?
Well, no, not really. To be honest, not really. She'll just be like, "Okay, so now what? what are you gonna do next? Or like you cannot let this define you.
Mm-hmm.
Like get up,
Yeah.
do better. But then she would still be there.
What was it for you that made you say, you know what, I have to not let that define me?
Um, you know what? I had to hit rock bottom.
Tell us about rock
I
bottom.
had to
How,
hit
how did you how did you get to rock bottom first?
Um, after my mom passed away, I was about 14 when she passed away, 14, 15. Um, I ended up in foster care. So I was in and out of group homes.
At 14, 15?
Yeah, 14,
So
15.
you were part of DCFS?
Yes,
Foster care.
foster care. Because I wasn't listening to my older sister, so she was just like, well, I'm not going to deal with this. Let the social workers deal with it.
What was that experience like being in
It,
foster care?
it was hard. I remember I ended up in the homeless youth shelter, and I cried. I cried like the first week that I
How
was
old
there.
were you at that time?
I was like 15.
15.
Yeah.
Homeless 15.
Homeless at 15.
Wow. What was going through your mind?
Everything. I was broken. I was broken inside. I cried. I was like, how is my life here? How did we end up here?
As you think about that now, how do you think your life ended up there?
My choices. My choices, definitely. I was so angry at the world for taking my mom, taking both of my parents, and just not why me? That was always my question. Why me?
Yeah, I remember I had a good relation with your mom, and I remember many times when I first heard about her passing, it really bothered me a lot, and not knowing what was going to happen to you. I think I knew one of your older sister. I think I just knew one. Well, I knew both of them, but I spoke to one of them more, and then I know your two younger siblings. I remember just thinking about you guys, but more you because of the relationship we had at that time, your younger siblings, and just thinking like, well, what's going to happen? What are they going to do? How are they going to find a way to get over this? It turns out that it took you to rock bottom.
It took me, yeah. I went, found myself at 4 in the morning at the metro station. Like, what the hell am I doing? Like, this is not the life I know my mom wouldn't want me to live. Yeah. Like, what am I doing? Why am I here? I'm cold, tired. I want a bed. Like, why? What am I doing?
Homelessness seems to be a big problem right now in Southern California, the state of California, even in Nevada.
Especially for youth, for teenagers.
Yes, exactly. Give us a perspective of what's a homeless like day like. So sun comes up. What do you do throughout the day? What do you do at night?
Why I stayed at a homeless shelter for youth.
Okay.
So in the morning, luckily they fed us breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Okay.
But we did have to do something. We either had to be looking for work or going to school.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
But since growing up, school wasn't really important to my family. I was always told education doesn't matter. Go as soon as you can work. So it was always like, oh, well, I'm just going to go work. So I did like little jobs here and there. Come back. We had a curfew, so I had to come back at that time. They asked me to come back. But then once we age out of there, you're on your own.
Oh, so there was an age limit. What was the age limit?
18.
So once you've emancipated, it's what? You're on your own?
You're on your own.
What did you do?
Couch served wherever I can until eventually I just didn't have nowhere to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have any other family members that you could have reached out to, or that you didn't want to reach out to?
No, I really didn't have family like that. And my sisters, they were all trying to do their own lives too. They had their own kids. They had to worry about my two younger siblings. They got moved to another foster home together. Luckily, they got to stay together because they were younger. So
how old are they now?
25 and 26.
Woo.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, so
Yeah.
so now you're couch surfing. You're trying to do everything you can. What? How did you find your path back to school?
I think once I got pregnant with my daughter, when I was homeless first, like I rock bottom at the metro station, thinking like, what the hell am I doing with my life? I stopped everything. I stopped the drinking. I stopped the drugs, everything. I was like, okay, I need to find a place because I already had a job.
Mhm.
So I was like, I need to find a place and another job. So that's what I did. I got two jobs. Um, Luckily, my my fiance now, back in the days, was my friend. His parents, they rented out rooms. So he like was like, hey, I know this girl. She needs a place to stay, and um, they didn't ask me for no deposit or nothing. They're like, yeah, come, pay us when you can. So I was able to get a room, and that's when I started just doing better. I literally blocked everybody out of my life and just I was like, I need to do this.
How hard was that to block everything that you were so used to?
It was hard. It was hard. There was a lot of times I just wanted to go back to the same BS I was doing.
Did you ever relapse?
No.
What was the mindset like?
Just, I guess, being there homeless, just that reminder, like, oh my God, I was in the street. I never want to go back.
Yeah.
And I think that's what has had me here now. Yeah. Just thinking like, oh my God, I never want to experience that again, ever in my life.
So you find a stable home, and you're working two jobs. What prompted you to say, I got to get back to school because school does pay off?
I want to say when I got pregnant with my daughter, I think I started thinking like, okay, how do I break that cycle? How do I change that for her? I want to give her a better future. I don't want her to go through the stuff I went through. I want her to know education support and all. But how can I don't want to be a hypocrite and tell her like, hey, education is important when I don't even have an education myself. Right. Luckily, when I was in the homeless shelter, they did make me take GED classes. So I was like halfway already there, like over halfway. So once I got back, I only had a little bit of time, and I finished it, got my GED, and right after I got it, a couple of months, that same day I passed my GED, I signed up for classes at college. Yeah, I was like, I don't care. I was like, it was already 1 week into the semester, and I was like, I'm still signing up. Let's go.
Let's go back to your GED classes. Was it hard for you to go back to a school system, doing work, reading, and all the work that comes with it? Was it hard for you?
No, thankfully it wasn't. I had a good support system. My mom now, Gloria, she was there to support me, and then the shelter I was in, they had Los Angeles Gay and Lesbian Center. They have a program there, so they already knew me, so they continue to help me. They helped me with everything.
Okay. And then you got your GED.
I got my GED.
Then where did you go to school?
I started off at GCC.
So GCC?
Glendale Community
Community College.
Yeah.
Shout out to Glendale.
Shout out to Glendale.
What was that experience like?
It was hard. It was hard, but I feel like I wanted to do it, but I was like, I don't care how hard it is, I'm gonna do it.
What was it hard to get used to coming back to the class, or was it hard learning the stuff? Or what was hard about it?
I feel like both. But I think mostly was mentally. Like, am I good enough to do this? Am I smart enough to do this? Like, is this really something for me? So I just kept telling myself, like, yo, this is for you. Just do it. Just do it. This is what you want. Just do it.
And then you start doing it.
And I start doing it.
And then what's going on in that time?
And once I was already I just went, yeah. I went nonstop. I didn't care. Summer, winter, fall, spring. I went straight all the way until I graduated.
What was your? Did you have a major then?
Yeah, it was still sociology.
What wanted you to get into sociology?
Just that, just um, I really wanted to understand like why is it that people stay poor and why do people stay in that trauma growing up and why does the cycle continue? Like how do we break that cycle or how does it even begin?
You know, I've done not a lot, but some research on trauma, and it's fascinating into how society doesn't understand the impacts it has.
Yeah.
Traumatic experience in children and young children, known as ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, can have a lifelong effect into diabetes, um, high mortality rate for heart attacks, life choices. It plays a huge influence not just on the choices but also on our nervous system, the way our nervous system responds. And I think that sometimes society just doesn't acknowledge that. It's not that I don't want to be successful. It's just that by the way my nervous system is programmed, it doesn't know how because I respond a different way. So, how did you shift your mind, your nervous system, your lifestyle, your choices from being at rock bottom into now shifting to having a different outcome? What were some strategy steps that you took? Share with us.
I'm very resourceful.
Okay.
Like very, very resourceful. Um, so wherever I could get help, I got it.
And you weren't afraid to ask?
I was not afraid to ask at all. I what was going good. I just figured whatever I needed to figure out. Like something's gonna help me one way or another.
Yeah. And what did you find?
Just like for school and all that stuff. Well, I got help from Mama Gloria, and then just finishing with a GED, going on like online, seeing what classes offer and all that. How that was gonna play into my.
And then you're at Glendale. You finish.
I finished.
What did you tell yourself?
I cried. I cried. I cried a lot because I was like, "Oh my God, I did this. I really did this."
Yeah, you did it.
Like,
you sure did.
Even now, sometimes I gotta take a second. Like, oh my God, like I did this.
Yeah,
I made it. I made it. I made it to 30. Graduated.
Yeah. What's hard to believe about that?
I was always told it was not for me.
Did you believe it?
I did for a long time, and I think that's why I never took school serious. I was always told I was not gonna be nothing. And just people around, family, people around my family that just people want to choose me out.
Yeah.
Talk bad about other people, and those words hurt. They stay with you for a long time.
Yeah, it messes with your mind.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes you believe that negativity because it's been told to you over and over your entire life that you say, well, it has to be true because everyone's telling me that.
Exactly. So right? It's like, why even bother?
So what made you transfer to CSUN?
I wanted to continue, get my bachelor's, reach that goal, and I did. I did. I heard that they had one of the best sociology programs there. So
what was your experience like at CSUN?
At first, it was still during COVID time, so I started online.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't get to go on campus until like my last semester there.
Yeah.
But it was nice. It was nice. I was like, oh my God, I'm in a college campus. Yeah. That's crazy.
It was surreal.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Tell us about graduation.
That was the best day. It was the best day. Having my daughter there, her seeing like all the proudness in her face. And to this day, like she wants to tell everybody, "Oh, my mommy graduated from CSUN. My mommy graduated." And that warms warms my heart. And now she's like, "I can't wait to go to college. Yeah. I can't wait to." So I love that.
So now let's look things in perspective. If you can go back to Jennifer when you were your daughter's age, and make the comparison to your daughter in the mindset of when you were her age, when you thought life should have been, into what your daughter thinks life is. Why do you think it's so different?
Ugh. I have protected her from a lot of traumas that I went through, and how she's growing up is not the way I was growing up.
What's different?
I'm breaking all the chains.
Well, tell us what chains are you breaking? What's the one that you feel that this is not going to go that route for my daughter? I do not want her going through that.
Just her not feeling loved enough, or her not feeling like she's not enough.
Did you experience that growing up?
I did.
You did.
I did.
You didn't get the love from Raisin
No, from you guys definitely, yeah. I think that program Blast really saved my childhood a little bit. Those years, just having those memories.
I think back to when we reconnected through Reyes. Him and I, we talk a lot about just how traumatic, not just your childhood, but a lot of the children that we served at that time that they were going through. I reached out to a couple of more, a handful of them, and I just, I tell them, I'm glad you're doing better. And, the response is like, I'm literally in tears. I never thought you'd remember. And it's like, yeah, we do remember because we genuinely cared for you guys. Um, it's it's one of those things that as an educator, this is what you work for, to build those connections, to see your students be success or find success, to be able to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to break that cycle. What do you think how old is your daughter?
8.
What do you think your 8-year-old self will tell your 8-year-old daughter today?
Oh, that's a good one.
What would be some advice that your 8-year-old self would tell her today?
My 8-year-old daughter. Oh.
Your
Parents love you. Your parents will do anything for you.
So let me ask you this question. You prompted me there. Last season, episode 8, our therapist from Rio Hondo came in and he asked me if I knew my parents loved me. And I remember taken aback and saying, I don't doubt their love. I lost my dad almost 3 years now. I never doubted his love. I just wish I heard it more. I wish I heard it even a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't remember hearing it much as a child. As an adult, it's a whole different story. But as a child, I don't remember hearing it aside from maybe a birthday, maybe a holiday, an accomplishment, but like on a consistent basis, just because I don't remember it. And if they did, my apologies. When you say that you didn't feel love, is it that you didn't feel love, or is it that you weren't told that you were loved?
I think it was that I wasn't told as much. Like it was like how you said, like birthdays, holidays, or if I accomplish anything at that age. I didn't hear it.
Do you think your parents loved you?
I want to say I hope they did, but I don't think they loved me enough. But then after, going to school and learning what I learned, it's like they, how
you see things different, right?
Yes, because now you're thinking like, okay, well then how were they loved and how were they raised? And so then I stopped being so mad at them because I was like, damn, they did the best they could. Yeah. Because how they were brought up. It was probably even worse how they were brought up.
You're talking about breaking cycles. This is the argument that I share with my students in class is, can you blame someone for not loving you, but they didn't know what love was? Right? Can you blame me for not being affectionate when I don't know what affectionate is? Can you blame me for not knowing something when no one ever taught me that? So that's something that I had to learn the hard way about my child experiences into saying like, oh damn, I think no, yeah, I don't doubt my parents. I don't doubt their love. I just wish I would have understood it at that time. That now as an adult, obviously as an educated adult, we know and understand. Like,
Yeah.
like
Okay. Well, sorry. I take it back. Maybe you did love me, but
yeah,
they were doing the best they could.
So how do you love your daughter different now?
Oh, I tell her I love you every day. Every single day I tell her. In the morning when she's waking up, when she's going to sleep, I always tell her. Or throughout the day, like I just tell her, baby, I love you. Hey, you're good enough. You're enough. Yeah. I make sure she knows.
How important do you think that is for her?
Oh, very important. I feel like it's very important. Being a mom, I basically wish I had showing me all that unconditional love.
So let's hypothesize. Do you think if your parents would have told you more, showed you different, different type of love, you think your life choices would have been different?
Not really. Not really. Why? Because then I would have to take out everything else besides that.
So you still were you carrying this baggage of anger, right? So despite them telling you and showing you, it wouldn't have impacted that because of that baggage you were carrying.
Yeah.
When or how did you finally say, you know what, enough of this?
It's not my baggage. Just letting everything go.
How old were you when you were able to do that?
I was already like after 19, 20. I was just really like
get into
adulthood, yeah. But I was finally like, you know what? Why am I so angry? I need to let this go. I need for my own peace. I forgave them for everything they did.
Was it hard?
It was hard. I hated my friends for a long time. But I was like, I can't hold on to this anger if I'm trying to be a better person.
How do you feel, or how did you feel at that time letting it go?
Relieved. I felt like I'm letting them rest. Letting them rest. You know, they did the best they could.
Yeah, and that's always going to be subjective into what was their best. And I think you can classify that by understanding what their childhood was like. And to say like they went through all that. Yeah, they actually did do a really good job.
Yeah,
right.
I tried.
So now you have some form of base to compare it to because now you're educated, you understand it, right?
Yeah.
What do you want your daughter to be as she continues to grow and develop?
I just want her to be a loving, caring person, and I want her to know that go for the stars. Yeah. You got this. Like you could do it. We could all do it.
What does it take to do it?
Really believing in yourself. Like, I know, like we have a lot of support and people supporting us, but if you don't believe it yourself, you're not gonna get nowhere. And I think that was a really big thing. Like, I had a lot of amazing people supporting me and pushing me and all that, but it took for me to really want the change and for me to really believe, like, yo, you could do this.
That's another things that we talk about in one of the classes that I teach at the Cal State LA's Child Abuse and Family Violence is a perpetrator of abuse is not going to get the help because they've normalized that behavior into thinking that this is the way that it has to be. It's up until that individual says, I got to change this. That realization of saying this isn't right. What, aside from the people and aside you telling yourself, there must have been something that made you take that step and just say, you know what, enough's enough. Can you recollect anything that said, you know what, this is where I draw the line and that's it?
I was doing a lot of drugs. I was doing a lot of drugs, and it was becoming more of an everyday thing. That I was just like, oh my god.
At that time, while you're doing these drugs, are you aware of the harm they're causing you?
No. Well, maybe I wasn't. I just didn't really care. I think I was just trying to numb all the pain, everything I had went through. Just trying to numb it all. I really didn't care what it was doing to me or to my body or anything.
You know that there's a lot of I've experienced a lot of students that would come to me and say, oh, I just had a bad breakup, or I'm having this challenge in life, and now I'm gonna numb myself, and it's dangerous
Very.
to be in that state of mind because you're not just numbing the pain, you're numbing all the joy too. Um, you were trying to numb all of your childhood
Mm-hmm.
and all the anger that you have and all that experiences that you've gone through at a very young age.
Yeah.
You're trying to numb all that. Is that probably why you didn't realize that this is actually causing harm to me?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you get the drugs from?
They're always around. People always around me. Always had it. Like, thankfully, I never had to pay for it because there was always people. It was always available to me easily.
In our first episode of this season, we were our guest talked about Aussie Motivator. He talked about surround yourself with people you want to be like, and now he was talking about successful people and people that want to have a drive and whatnot. Now you're giving us an example of being around people that are toxic,
Yeah.
people that are doing drugs, doing things they're not supposed to do. You eventually succumb to that too.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, I need to cut everybody out of my life. Mm-hmm. Literally everybody. Mm-hmm. I was like, no, this is not. I think it was just there in my head, like, this is not who you are. Mm-hmm. It's not who you are, and I think that's what helped me. Like, I kept telling myself, I'm stronger than this. I'm stronger. I'm stronger.
Where did you find that little voice?
I think it was that little girl in me. That little girl I lost. Mm-hmm. I was like, let's do this for us. Mm-hmm. I did.
And that's the little girl that came out of graduation?
Yeah, that's the little girl that came out of graduation. Like, yeah, you did it. Mm-hmm. So I looked back at my younger self and saw her. We made it.
You made it. Yeah.
We made it.
So what's next?
Next is getting my master's degree. Continuing my education and seeing where I go.
What do you want to do with your life
now? Right now, I just want to enjoy it. I'm taking a little break. I feel like from the moment I started, I just went straight that, and then right now I'm just enjoying my time. Planning a wedding.
Yeah. When is the wedding?
October.
Oh, that's almost.
Yeah, almost. Little elopement.
October. All right. You excited for that?
I am. Pretty excited.
Yeah. I'm curious to know, have you shared with your partner your past experience?
Some of it. Mm-hmm. Some of it I have.
Oh, he's gonna find out now.
I know, he's gonna find out. But he knows most of it. I'm pretty open about it. When something does come up, we talk about it.
Was it hard to build a trusting relationship where you're at now?
Oh yeah. Just like to even trust the man was very hard.
Where do you see your relationship now? Obviously, planning a wedding.
Yeah.
As far as the trust.
The trust is solid. Yeah, and I hope it continues to be solid.
And it must feel good knowing that there is a man that you can trust.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to support you and
take care of me. Yeah. Take care of me. Hey, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to finish school comfortably.
Props to him. Shout out for that. Yeah. So what do you want to do with your career when you go to grad school? You finish grad school. What do you want to study in grad school?
Well, I did want to do social work. Just because the social workers I dealt with, and there could be some better ones. So
well, yeah. Now let's quickly jump on that. There was a big controversy about social workers in regards to Gabriel Fernandez, his death, and other children that have lost their lives because of social workers not following through what they should have done or taking the approach they should have taken. You've had a great one, obviously.
Yeah.
What do you want to do when you get to be a social worker?
You know what? Be that social worker I had. be the one that's caring and making sure I get the things that I need. Just be one of the good ones. Be one of the good ones.
What does it take to be a good one?
I feel like my experience helps me a lot. I feel like my experience will make me a better social worker because I will understand completely, what the child is going through. But I want to focus more on on teenagers because I feel like they get ignored the most.
Yeah, if we put it in perspective, the teenagers into what they're going through developmentally, it's trying to find identity, trying to figure out who they are, and it's very difficult for teenagers that don't have an attachment at home, for teenagers that have bad influences around them to pretty much follow that path. It's I admire you for wanting to work with that demographic because that can be a tough one. I remember when I was a teenager, I was.
No, I know. I told myself I'm probably gonna meet my match, but I'm like, no. Teenagers get very ignored, and I feel like I could probably make some change.
What change? What change do you want to make?
Well, I want to bring more awareness to youth homelessness youth. There has to be something we could do. There has to be, and I learned a lot of the issues because they're finding their identities. A lot of parents kick them out because they don't agree with what they're trying to be.
And also, a lot of the times, the choices that they make are not. It's not a reflection of their parenting. It's rather a reflection of the help that they need. It's a cry. I remember me being defiant towards my parents at that age. It wasn't that I wanted to be a jerk with them. It was just that I didn't know what I wanted to do. And here I am getting more pressure from my parents about what I should do.
Yeah.
And it's like, but that's not what I want to do. Help me understand what I want to do, but don't tell me what I should do.
Yeah.
Which eventually detached myself more from my parents. And I'm glad that I had the opportunity to find my peace with my dad and pretty much had great conversations with him. But if you can connect with all of our audience out there, maybe some of them can resonate with a lot of the things that you talked about. Maybe they've experienced similar challenges that you've experienced. What would be that one advice you give to them so they can also find their own success?
I would say don't let your traumas define you, and you really got to believe in yourself to make that change. I really want it, and you'll be able to make that change.
Jennifer, thank you so much for being vulnerable with us and sharing your experiences. I know it's not easy, but I sincerely thank you for having the courage to talk about your experiences to help you get to where you're at. And I'm excited for you to where you're going to be.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Till the next time, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy.
Capture the passion.